Well, despite, criticism and protests, we're just going to do this. This is how we start today's show. Just some cool piece of music. My name's Howard. This is how I'm going to talk for the entire time. We welcome you to the show. Sitting in today, the world.
You're bewildered. The wildebeest.
You know what it was? It was too emotional. You hear that? I got
choked up.
I got choked up. I got verklempt. Listen, I just want to say, sitting in today is the world famous Pete Cunha.
Hello,
Hey, come on, yeah. Hey,
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll introduce you formally in a moment.
Okay.
That was an informal introduction.
Felt it. Yeah.
Right now, we're going to tighten things up. We're gonna get our boy Fizzy started. Phil.
The following episode of Humble and Fred Radio is brought to you by FYI Music News, The Retirement Sherpa, Gig Sky, The Chambers Plan, Palma Pasta, CDN Technologies, and our newest sponsor, Sticker You, where you can get your stickers on Queen Street or order anywhere in the world. If you'd like to talk to Humble and Fred, call 1-833-437-8465. That's 1-833-HF-STINK. And now from the worldwide headquarters of the Humble and Fred Show, here is Humble Howard.
Oh, very nice. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Our guest today, Dylan Gray, performing in studio, recently signed to a recording contract. We're going to talk to her, but now let's talk to the man who had sex with her mother.
Whoa!
Whoa!
We don't know where he is. We don't know where he is, actually.
That's right. He's on the phone.
What contract is that?
Yeah. Hey, Sergio. How are you?
Hey, listen. What I never told you. Yeah, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
What's horrifying? Me having sex with her mother?
No, but to our children, it's
Yes,
horrifying.
Of course it is. Yes, she's vomiting over there right
You know, it was just a great reaction when I said that. So I looked over, and Dylan did this thing, and my kids do too. They just pretend to throw up. Pete Cunha, for many years, was one of the producers, writers, performers on the program. Pete and I, together and separately, recorded many songs.
Yes.
Pete being the talented singer-songwriter. And I don't know what I was doing. I just like to hang out with Pete. We used to have these little sessions together.
Oh my God, we wrote some classics.
We did something.
Yeah.
But I used to love that. It was a really fun period for me in the show because, not that Fred didn't have any interest in it, but it was just I played a little bit of music. You were very musical, and it was a great outlet for me. And we would sit and do songs, and we would laugh.
Do you remember what we called it?
Yes, I do.
Can we say that? We can't say that anymore, can we?
On air
Probably
radio?
not. Probably not. It was a love fest of sorts.
We used to call it the, well, you would remember because you're much younger than me.
Starts with an H, but I'm not sure I'm allowed to say
I think we call it the homoerotic
love fest.
Homoerotic songwriting love fest or something. Because we would sit and it was fun, and we fell in love, and anyway. So at one point we were like, should we make this more serious? And we said no.
Fred would have been jealous. So
that's you. You're Pete.
I'm still Pete. Yeah, and really glad to be here. Thanks, man.
You're really the thing about Pete, very, very talented, and you're really smart too.
I don't know about that, but thank you. I'll just take that as
no. You are. You're no.
Is this an improv? Yes, and
it's just yes. Full stop.
Yes,
you're really smart. You're super
you.
funny.
Thanks, man.
Likewise.
Yes, you. Give me a break. There aren't many people as well read as you, especially in radio.
It's true. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Lots of stuff to get to. Besides your daughter.
Yeah.
Who is super nice. What's your other kid's name?
Julia.
She
doesn't have a cool rock.
So Dylan's going to perform.
Yeah.
Andrew, did I send you that? I think his name is Andrew Barr.
Oh.
I thought I sent you that to print. Would you do me a favor? Would you go
do that.
See if I did, and just do the Also, so we're going to do that. Of course, we're live on Twitch, live on Facebook. And this is our last day before, what would you call this break, Phil? The winter break?
February break.
Now, Fred's already on the break because he needs time to rest.
True.
Yesterday was so much fun. We had the mask reveal. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't. Sorry, I missed the mask.
So Fred and Doll. Doll was very nervous about the coronavirus.
Uh-huh.
And she convinced Fred that they should wear masks.
Oh, boy. They don't even do anything.
No, of
apparently.
course not.
Yeah.
And Fred sent me this picture from the plane, and I spent 3 days teasing that on Wednesday I would reveal the picture, and I did.
Oh, my. If that doesn't bring the plane down. I don't know.
Seriously. And I thanked him for that picture, which I will always have. Oh, God. Anyway, so that was yesterday. So you're here today. That's cool. For people, there's a category of podcast listeners. We call them Hundy Ps or 100%ers.
Right.
And now a new category has surfaced, Humble and Fred Lifers.
Yes.
And the Lifers all know who you are.
Oh, wow.
Of course they do. You were, what years did you were 96?
96 to 2000, into 2000, yeah.
And you just reminded me of something I had forgotten. Like, watching you reminded me of a couple of things I forgot.
Exactly. You are 60. You are 60.
No, it was really funny because I was asking Pete, how old are you? He said, I just turned 50. I said, well, I just turned 60. He goes, I know. I sent you a song. I'm like,
I came to the show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Everything is new.
Yeah, exactly.
Every day's a new day. Yay. It was funny.
Yes.
So yes, and you did a song for me.
Mm-hmm.
Where was I going?
But I reminded you of something.
Oh, you reminded me of this.
Yes.
That after you left our show, that you went and worked on a morning show.
I did.
In Hamilton.
In Hamilton.
And here we are doing a morning show in Hamilton.
Almost, yeah.
Almost, kind of.
Almost as far. Yeah, I used to drive out at like 4 every morning to Hamilton, to Y95, which became Y108, with Stu Jeffries.
Yeah, so I think there, in case there's somebody, well, first of all, in case there's somebody listening.
Yeah, right.
So, for a lot of people, I call this the witness protection program of radio. Yes. I mean, but I feel bad for your daughter. She's like, oh, this is great. I'm going to go on a radio show and sing my song and people are going to hear it. I'm like, nope. Yeah. No, they're not.
She's not paying attention anyway.
No, that's right. She's not paying attention. So it was you and Stu.
Yeah.
And what was the name of it? Was it the Stu Jeffries?
Stu Jeffries in the Morning show, yeah.
And who were you?
Were
you the wacky sidekick?
Yeah, get this. They called me. I still played a lot of characters, but my on-air persona, they didn't want me to be Scary Pete anymore. See, like, you were Humble Howard from, 20 years old or something? They were always
17.
17.
Yeah.
Right. Well, with me...
Big mistake.
Well, I'd barely been Scary Pete for 4 years, and they wanted me to change it. So there, they called me Dr. Pete. Yes.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, I know. you need some music for that.
No, I was going to say, I was turning Phil's mic back on.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So you got into a room with other human beings and went, listen, that character you're playing on one of the most popular morning shows in this whole area. And I can say at that time, we actually did. We had big numbers. Yeah. And we were not only top rated in Toronto, we were big in Hamilton, Buffalo.
Sure. Buffalo.
So here's the meeting. Listen, Pete, this name that everyone knows you by, we don't want that anymore. Yeah, I know what we'll do. Rather than play on your popularity, we'll just slightly change it to Dr. Pete. Really?
Yeah.
And was that one person? They said, we've done some research and Scary Pete ain't going to play in Hamilton.
It's a little too scary.
Yeah, I still to this day don't have a clue why. Because, it does seem like the stupidest thing you could do is, okay, so you've built a 4-year reputation working with the most popular, for your age group, probably in the country, I would say.
Sure, let's say it.
No,
Why
let's
not?
say it. In the world.
That's right.
And then they're like, let's just change that. So no, I really did start from scratch. Mind you, I brought over a couple of my characters, which never took off there, by the way.
So he'd be doing a break like, hey, why 108, 95 or whatever. I'm Stu Jeffries, and now here's Dr. Pete.
And they'd always play like some ER just snippet. No, it was brutal.
Hey, Dr. Pete, what do you have to say? And the thing about the listener would be like, why is he an actual doctor?
Yeah.
And if he's a doctor, shouldn't he be seeing patients?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Shouldn't there? Hey, we're going to also talk to Baby Sean Sargent from Georgetown. Baby Sean. This is I don't know if you guys know this, but it's dry February, and people are going. It's very nice, actually. It's a great thing. People are trying to raise money for cancer, which is a bad thing.
Yes.
Okay. And what they do is they don't drink.
Right.
Which is great, I think that's great. Everyone should take a break from it. But what you can do is there's a way around it. There's there's like a
loophole.
A loophole. Thank you.
It's okay.
A secret passage.
I'm with you here, Howard.
Do I?
Howard, how
Did you
many
know I
fingers?
turned 60?
Come with me, and you'll be.
Dr. Pete.
Yeah. Maybe you need Dr. Pete.
I need Dr. Pete.
Lie down.
So, is it time? I guess we should tell this. I find this fascinating. So, Sean, who I'm a huge, I don't want people to know, I'm a huge Sean fan. Mm-hmm. And do you know, you know that?
Yes, I think so.
I don't think
It's back and forth. I'm a huge fan of yours, and you
but I don't
return the
think
favor.
on the air people know how much affection I have for you. I just think of the world of this kid, and just want the best for him. So he comes to me, but he's on the air sometimes. I think because of the dynamic, and he's like, and I think the dynamic seems as maybe sometimes I don't appreciate Sean, but I do. I want everyone to know that this is all a softer, gentler Howard today because I'm tired. I'm going on holidays.
Yeah.
I just want to be done. It's just been too much. Anyway, it's too much for How. It's too much for the How man.
Yeah.
So I want this next section to not appear as though I'm browbeating you.
And that's fair.
Okay.
Yes.
So Sean comes to me, dry February, raising money for cancer. And then a couple of days later he goes, "Oh yeah, I was at the bar last night." I'm like, listen, I'm not very bright, but I think drinking during a dry February wouldn't seem to make any sense.
Kind of defeats the purpose.
Well, what is so please explain the loophole.
Yeah, so what you do, it's a Canadian Cancer Society charitable donation. It's not an event, but it's a something you go through, a program. So you have an option to get donations just for doing your dry Feb. And the other option you have actually is you can click a button instead of just making a donation. You can buy somebody a golden ticket.
So just pause for a second if you don't mind. So the Canadian Cancer Society sets this up. Mm-hmm. You get donations or sponsors or people sponsor you. I'm going to be doing it for 30 days. If you will sponsor me for $1 a day or whatever the thing is, right?
So last year I took the whole month off drinking. My goal was to see if I could go a month without having just a beer or anything like that. So I did well.
I think drinking covers it, but yeah, sure.
No, I know, but
pause and name alcohol. No, I'm just kidding. See, there's the old house.
Well, we used to have, we had Mill Street Breweries was our sponsor back then, so I had a fridge full of non-alcoholic beer.
Hill Street Beverage Company.
Hill Street.
So anyhow,
sponsor.
So anyway, but this year there's a button you can click, so you can sponsor Sean, but you click this button and you donate extra, the golden ticket button.
It's a minimum of $25 donation, and you get to pick a day that I can have off, and I can drink that day.
What? I know. I know.
It's like
Pete, you take this one.
Like a carbon tax or something. Yeah. It's not actually stopping people from polluting. It's just you're paying someone else.
I feel like I just have a lot of friends that are lonely and kind of want to have a drink with me. So it's been, hey, you want to go to the bar and I'll $25 golden ticket. What? Okay, I guess I'm drinking today. So for 3 out of the last 5 days, I've had someone buy me a golden ticket.
Well, so February is only 5 days old.
So,
so
40% dry.
I was going to say, that's right. It has mostly not been dry.
Yeah.
It's been, I would say so far, a moist. Would that be a moist February?
I love that word. Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Clicking the restart button
dripping.
Oozy moist.
So it's going to be 25 days sober from now on,
well,
unless I get another golden ticket.
Which I'm assuming you will.
I got a feeling it's going to be a month full of golden tickets here, which, hey, it's still all going to the Canadian Cancer Society. It's still
that
a
is the
donation.
upside.
I know, but
I
when
know.
you think of these things, like, first of all, I'm amazed that anyone finds it. Well, not amazed at anyone, but you're not an alcoholic. So whenever someone finds it, like, it's strange that it's such a challenge to not drink for a month. But that aside, if you're going to be, sort of sacrificing and challenging, I'm just trying to juxtapose this as something for cancer. Like, imagine Terry Fox if you'd given him golden tickets back in the day. It's sort of like, well, I'm not going to run today, but give me a golden ticket.
Day off.
Slight stroll.
Exactly. Suddenly someone comes and wheels
it's like,
wheels him down the highway. It's like, so okay, I got a golden ticket.
See you, Thunder Bay.
Roll, Terry, roll.
Terry's Fox is running across Canada. Unless you donate $25 and give him a piggyback ride. But anyway, Sean.
Yeah.
The upside is you're raising money for an important cause.
Yep, and I'm on a good track here. I've made $25 a day, so
exactly.
let's keep it going. Anybody that's donating.
If you want to sponsor Sean, then you can. And go to Sean's social media. You can find it there.
Yep.
All right, let's see if Dan Duran's here. Dan, are you there?
I am here.
Are you all right? Did you? Because sometimes Dan Duran's voice it's too much. Dan,
Good morning.
that's Pete
And hello,
Cuneo. Do you
Steve.
know him?
Hey, Dan. You can
Do I
call
know
me
who?
Dr. Pete. Dan.
Yeah, Dr. Pete's here. Dr. Pete. It's a long story, but anyway, in Hamilton at one time, Scary Pete became Dr. Pete. But he's here. And Dan, we all miss you because you were here for a couple days.
Yeah. I was doing the same thing, guest fretting that, is it back to Scary Pete now or just Pete?
Either, just not Dr.
If
Pete.
you donate $25,
golden ticket.
We will call you Doctor.
Then you can call me Dr. Pete. Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that last segment where Sean is raising money for the Canadian Cancer Society, which is awesome. And but he's not drinking in February unless he is.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm on
So
track.
he's drying out.
It is.
If he
It's
is.
drying out, but except on days when he's getting hammered at 4 o'clock with his friends at a pub in Georgetown.
Driver
Yeah.
booth.
That's really good discipline then.
It is. Danny,
Yeah.
are you all? You're aware that Fizz is on his way to Cambodia. He's on his way to pick up Mrs. Hong.
Land of the 50-cent beer.
You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he leaving today?
Yeah, he's going to leave right now as soon as you're finished your forecast.
Well, there may be a little de-icing on the tarmacs today.
Well, we're going to get to your forecast. I bring that up because a lot of people, the Sherpa being one of them, flying out this morning. But right now, it doesn't look too bad. Whatever the event was, and you predicted it, it was fine in the evening last night. I was out with my ex-wife, Randy, my daughter for her birthday, her boyfriend, and then driving around the city was fun. And then I woke up, and you were right. It just accumulated overnight. But is this, are we done? Do you want to hint, tease your forecast? Coming up, I'll tell you when there's that type of thing.
Yeah, next. Coming up, it's not done yet.
Oh. Well, I can't wait.
Okay, there you go. But have you taught Pete the song? Because with Fred away, the song is sort of degraded a little bit. So
Weather
with
song?
Pete in the house, Dr. Scary Pete.
I'm still, yeah, Dr. Scary Pete. I don't know about that. I thought we had a couple of nice days. Dan, what you mean?
they were good.
You think without Fred the song just didn't work?
No, I just it wasn't
Hold on,
as full.
Sean. What do you say?
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's been
thanks,
quite
Sean.
on par today.
Yeah, and Sean's got a music degree, Dan.
That's right.
You have a music
Oh, he
degree?
does?
Yeah.
Wow.
Somehow.
He should
man
be
of many
conducting
talents.
or something then.
What's that, Dan?
If he's got a music degree, he should be conducting or something.
But
then.
what was your problem with the song? Because I know you. I've known you all my life. I know when you say that, there's way more behind that. That you were probably like,
It just wasn't as full without the Fred.
Fred has a delicious tenor.
he does. He is. In fact, he is a delicious tenor.
He is a delicious
Actually, not according to
has.
Dahl, he's a delicious 4, but he's a delicious quattro. A girthy quattro, I believe, is what.
It's all in the girth.
That was his. It was originally when he first started off on radio. He was known as Girthy Quattro. But no, I just worried that you were sitting here for 2 days just not satisfied with the singing that we did.
No, it
And
was
now
fine.
it all comes out. Listen. We gave you 2 meals of chicken thighs.
Wow.
Yeah, he was paid in chicken thighs. You'll
know
get your
it.
thigh.
I brought my own apple
Yeah.
squeezy.
Pete, your thighs are in the mail. But Danny,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit. I don't know. I feel weird now that you're like, oh, the song wasn't as good. So I guess what Dan is saying. Do you know the Dan Duran weather song?
No, you're gonna have to teach
Okay,
it to me
so
quick.
I'm
very quick.
It's
study.
I know it's very simple.
Okay.
I came up with it. I'm trying to remember. I found some music. I Spotify. When you Google on Spotify, what is that called? Search?
Yes.
Yeah, you searched
when
on
you
there.
Google on Spotify.
You found you
One's called Googling.
Now you know. That's the oldest sentence I've ever uttered in my life.
I yahooed it.
I have a
yahooed it.
question. When I Google onto Spotify,
Binged.
do I WW?
Alta Vista.
Yeah, one day I was just looking on the Spotify, and Dan's weather was coming up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, here's a. I think I Spotify Googled or I Google-fied. I Googled
Google-fied.
weather. Literally, I put in weather music, and it came out weather piano music.
Oh.
And so I just started singing this.
Okay.
I'm going to play it for you. This isn't time yet, Dan. It's just a
Okay.
rehearsal.
Right. Good.
Okay.
Can we do that kind of thing on the air? That's good.
Dan, why are you being so critical today?
I'm not being critical.
Just because you're
And by
not
the
here?
He misses you, Howard. That's what it is.
I
Is that
really
it?
think
Is it an emotional disconnection? Because we bonded for 2 days.
Anxiety.
2 days.
Okay, Dan.
All right.
I'm just going to show Pete, and then we're gonna do it.
All right,
We're
okay,
gonna
that's
rehearse
fine.
once.
Yeah.
This is like that Taylor Swift documentary on Netflix. We're gonna rehearse once. I feel it.
So when you're 15.
I was talking to Pete's daughter about this documentary I watched. I fell in love with this artist Taylor Swift last night. I just think she's amazing. Dan,
Attending, yes.
stand by.
Okay, okay,
So
I'm
this is
standing.
how it starts. Then I go, Dan Duran, weather, Dan Duran, and you come in. Yeah, and then you would come in. The first Fred part is you just go on top of that, right?
Okay.
So we'll just you be Fred for a second.
Right.
Okay,
You be
good.
Quattro.
Sorry, I'm trying to get the French voice, you know.
Okay, you be
He's got a certain-
Quattro. What did I call him?
Girthy Quattro.
Griffey Quattro. and then-
Well, I kind of am.
okay, so Dan Duran,
Weather, Dan Duran. Okay. Dan Duran,
I
weather.
start. Dan Duran, weather, Dan Duran.
Dan Duran, weather, Dan Duran. Dan Duran, weather, Dan Duran. Dan Duran, weather, Dan Duran.
And then sometimes when the mood strikes Dan, we have him come on top of that going, I'm Dan Duran. And it really is, it's something, you know. It's not come from away, but it's pretty good.
It's close.
Yeah, thank you. Dan, are you ready? Or do you have something critical to say about that?
Nothing at all. I'm
right.
sure that Dr. Scary Pete will add a lot to this, and I'm just and with great anticipation, you can go.
Here we go. Dan Duran, weather, Dan Duran.
Dan Duran, weather, Dan Duran.
Dan Duran, weather, Dan Duran. Dan Duran, weather, Dan Duran.
I'm Dan Duran. I
Wow.
love that. That was very
All
nice.
right.
Very good.
I'm sure I'm going to get a note later.
That's staccato.
Can we do it like that again?
All right.
Yes. So this last day of the Humble and Fred show, for a little while, we're looking at airports and roads. Going to be a bit messy today because of the system that's coming through. This Texas low, first of 3 low pressure systems passing through the southern part of Canada, going into the maritime provinces. This will last till Saturday-ish, and then another round of it kind of on Sunday for us.
Wait a minute.
So it'll be on and off. We'll get most of it today with about 10 centimeters of snow in total accumulation, 8 to 10, somewhere in there. The further east you go, the more snow you'll probably end up with. There's some areas that could get up to 50 centimeters of snow with these systems coming through. So tomorrow, a 30% chance of snow and rain and sleet and ice and that kind of thing. And then Saturday, probably a sunny day. And then on Sunday, we could get another 5 centimeters of snow somewhere in there.
Okay,
In the
well,
meantime,
I'm leaving on Sunday. I think our flight's at 9, so I will have to monitor that situation.
You may have to do that, yeah.
No.
But it's more likely that the Sunday snow is probably going to be in the evening. So if you're leaving in the morning or midday, you're probably going to be fine on Sunday.
And for you people that are flying out this weekend, or even today, we mentioned yesterday that, when there is weather, generally, it's usually, a couple, to 10,000 or 12,000 feet. But that's why they de-ice, so that you can punch through the weather, and all will be well. Dan, thank you for your time this morning.
Well, thank you for the song. It's great that Dr. Scary Pete's in. That's good to hear his voice again.
Thanks, Dan. Great
Always good to hear him.
Isn't it? And Dan, I hope that was acceptable to your high standards. And I miss you already. See you in a couple weeks.
In a couple of weeks, you'll be back, and we'll be having fun all over again.
Oh, I hope so.
But in the meantime, there's best of shows and stuff going on, right?
Oh, yeah, tomorrow. Actually, Phyllis Brian Hong will be hosting the best ofs.
Yep.
Are you hosting all
From
of them?
Cambodia?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's going to be amazing.
Pretty much.
No,
Yeah.
now, do you do all the ins and outs for the next couple of weeks, too?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's really something. And you can hear Phil's work tomorrow morning at 7 on Funny 820, Saturday as well. We will not be putting out new podcast, though, just so everyone gets it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's because of our system.
Yeah, but if you really miss us that much, you can always
Visit our website.
visit our website and catch up on archive shows. Thanks, Daniel. All the best, my brother. I'll talk to you before I leave.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Dan Duran, everyone. Scary Pete's going to hang out.
Yep.
You can come back. We'll talk a little bit about a couple things. The Republicans, in a surprise. What? Breaking news. Breaking news. Also, Kirk Douglas finally said enough. I'll tell you what. Kirk Douglas, if you people don't know, very famous actor. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you an interesting story I just found out this morning. I think one of my favorite stories about a failed stand-up comic moment. Just hang around. I'll tell you about it in a second. It's Humble and Fred Radio.
Ooh, loving you forever is what I need. Let me.
just can't help ourselves. 'Cause we don't know how to back down. We were called out to the streets. We were called out into the towns. And how the heavens they opened up. Like arms of dazzling gold. With our rain-washed histories. Well, we do not need to be told. Show me now, show me the arms aloft, every eye trained on a different star. This is my chick, this drunk and semaphore eye. We are listening.
Grigsby Thursday, and we are winding down before Fizz is off to Cambodia to get Mrs. Fizz. Pearl Hong will be in Toronto. It's so weird how it's all worked out. I'll get to that in a second. Pete Cunio's here. He's
Hello,
a
everyone.
sweet man.
Hello.
And Pete's brought along a newly signed recording artist that he helped form.
Literally.
Literally, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you were right there.
I was there watching someone else have sex with my wife.
The
coaching
foundations.
them. Yeah.
So Dellen Gray will be our guest in about an hour's time. She's going to perform. We're going to find out all about her and how what that process is, how the music business has changed. Pete, hang around here for a second. Phil was also. So it's so weird how it worked out because we're all going out of town, but
That's
you're
right.
going out of town and come back
Yeah,
in
Camp
a week.
Gia, and then I'm bringing my wife back here. She's here for a week, so we all share our hometowns together, that sort of thing.
Phil's, it's. I just can't wait to come back and have you tell us the story of Pearl's first few moments, days
Yeah.
in Toronto, Canada, after all this time.
Pearl's first snow. She's never seen snow in her life. It's one of those stories.
Wow.
Like, what is this frozen stuff about?
So anyway, I can't wait for that, Philly. But first, let's talk about this fantastic thing.
That's right. The Retirement Sherpa is there for you, the financial planner for your future. And Tim Niblett was in yesterday talking about second opinions and three main areas of improvement because everyone's thinking about how they can make money off of the money that they have. And GICs are a great option that are related to the RSP season, as well as balanced funds and portfolios. Having a proper portfolio, a balanced portfolio is a very good idea, as well as 1%. The idea of having 1% more a year in interest or in earnings, it makes a huge difference in a few decades, as we heard yesterday. $1 today might be worth a lot more tomorrow. So check out Tim Niblett, the Retirement Sherpa. He's a portfolio manager, and Raymond James is a member of the Canadian Investors Protection Fund.
Also, before the show ends, I'll update you on our correspondence with Chorus. You all heard yesterday, maybe, that they won't. I'll explain it in an hour. I can't do it now. But anyway, I'll tell you there's a little bit of a sort of a wrap up to that, a denouement, as we say in French. Oh, yeah.
Alors.
So literate.
Le denouement.
My dear.
In the meantime, hey, congratulations if you've checked out Turnkey Vacation Rentals. We're using it in Palm Springs, and so can you. This La Quinta property is, you go check it out at humbleandfredradio.com. It's not your typical Airbnb. It's an exceptional property taken care of by Turnkey Vacation Rentals, provide you a consistent and reliable high-end experience every home, every stay, every time. And now, Humble and Fred listeners can get a 15% discount. Enter promo code owner15 and get 15% off. La Quinta's property, Turnkey Vacation Rentals. I don't know if you've been following the news, Pete, but
A little bit.
This, I can tell you, this Trump character seems to me causing quite a stir back there. Just give me a little bit of an overview. I've got a couple of specifics I want to run by you, but you're a man in the world. You've been around 50 years now. What do you see and what do you think?
Well, we were chatting a bit before the show. I see the internal degradation of the country at an accelerating rate, and it's astonishing to me. I was saying to Howard before the show, my dad was predicting 20 years ago that the U.S. was sort of on a bad course, but never did I think in my wildest dreams that, you know, we'd be here. I mean, I'm 50, I'm not 20, but it seems like it's fallen upon us very, very quickly, and I'm not sure that he's the cause so much as a symptom of a country whose education has gone out the window, whose sense of civics and of rule of law have gone out the window. Is that too serious? Am I
No,
getting too
this
serious?
is what this is.
Yeah.
This is
Okay. I'm like, oh, we're getting
this
too
is
serious.
the serious portion of the program.
Yes,
where
where's the toilet humor? Exactly.
the two of us are gonna.
Yeah.
We're 110 years between us.
Gosh,
We've got
yeah,
a thing to say. Well, we'll get back to some silliness in a second, as I promised this Kirk Douglas story.
Yeah.
But no, listen. I'm curious to see what you think. Have you ever lived in the States?
No, I've been there a lot, though. I had one of my best friends who sadly passed away, but it's Trump's fault. But anyway.
Trump killed your friend?
Trump killed my friend.
Why did he do that?
Yeah, I don't know. He's orange.
Wait a second. This just in. Trump killed Pete's friend.
But yeah, so I've been there a fair bit, and my brother lives there, so I'm there quite a bit. Yeah. And
Your brother lives there?
yeah, one of my brothers is
What-
he's in finance in New York.
Is
Yeah.
he really?
Yeah, he does all right. Does
Oh,
a
I
little
bet.
better than I do.
Is he? Like he works like in Wall Street?
Yeah, he's an investment banker.
Is he
guy.
really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Your
Yeah.
brother's an investment
Watch,
banker.
now I'm going to get kidnapped.
You know,
Yeah, exactly.
I used to say to my daughters, "Listen, either be an investment banker
Yeah.
or marry an investment banker."
Exactly. Yeah.
So he lives in the States. Well,
Yeah.
what are his thoughts about it?
Well, he's always been the most conservative of our family, so I think he's still pretty appalled. Like I think Fred said this over the years. It's like a conservative in Canada is still somewhat like a Democrat
Oh,
down
super
there. You know
liberal.
what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're not on the same part. So he's kind of like that. To us, he was conservative, but down there, I think Trump is driving him nuts. And he's one of the guys who benefits a lot because he's one of the top 1%.
Oh, yeah.
But he's not so blind as to not see the damage that it's doing to the vast majority of people.
Well, I mean, I had a great talk with my buddy yesterday, who's similar to you, very bright, but very conservative.
Right.
And listening to him talk, they're like he's way more right of Fred.
Wow.
And Fred's not that right. Fred's a little bit right of me, but this buddy of mine is way right of both of us. Mm-hmm. And to hear him, and I don't even argue, I'm just fascinated to hear somebody talk about it in a way that's different than what I would think. But, greatest president, great economy, great. And I only offer well, that's true, I guess. On paper, you could look at that and go, yeah, things are pretty good. The Dow is at a record rate, and jobs and all that stuff. But if you sort of scratch under the surface, most of the middle of America ain't doing all that well.
No, and let's remember, it's not as if he walked into power in 2017. I guess he was elected in 2016.
Oh yeah, 2017.
Walked
that's
in,
right,
took power, and suddenly he changed the economic foundations of the country. You've got to give Obama and his administration credit for the first at least 18 months to 2 years.
Yeah,
of
but
it,
my friend's contention was, okay, the Obama thing is over. But again, and I have no problem because it's a point of view. And I always say this to my kids: confirmation bias is everything. Mm-hmm. So however you see things, it's hard to argue against it. Mm-hmm. Facts don't matter. It's just the facts that matter to you that matter.
Right.
That being said, I think at some point, to your point about your father's prediction of the decline of the great, republic, it's got to come from within. It's got to come from somewhere in the middle of the country. Because a lot of us who are liberal-leaning or socialist here in Canada, we think of America as the coasts.
Right.
But it's not. Because the people on the coast kind of think like we do. New Yorkers, California certainly. Mm-hmm. But somewhere in the middle, the uprising, when enough people, because they're not stupid, when enough people kind of go, wow, in the middle, this isn't working for us.
Right.
The coal miners that were told that their coal jobs were going to come back. At some point, they're going to wake up and go, well, that didn't turn out to be the case at all.
Not. Well, I'm astonished. I mean, I know you're saying they're not stupid, and they're not. But I am astonished at just what a good job this shaman has done in convincing that core sort of Rust Belt group of people that he's their savior. I mean,
Yeah.
he's the antithesis to everything
No,
that they
I know.
stand for.
That's right.
I don't get it. From Bible, the guy couldn't even spell Bible, let alone know any passages from it, and everything, like everything about him. He's an elite, rich, silver spoon in
All
his
that
in his
stuff.
mouth, his arse, every other orifice from the age of 0, and yet somehow they think he's going to be, sort of empathetic with them. I don't get
But
it.
if you, yeah, I know it's infuriating, but if you get past being outraged by it,
Yeah.
sometimes it's almost like fascinating.
It is, yeah.
It's a
Fair
I
enough.
mean,
Yeah.
you look, how could this have been? How is this the way it is? And when I say those people in the, the flyover states, when I say they're not stupid, America is the greatest and largest cult the world has ever known. It's like a cult. It's the cult of guns and religion, and we're the greatest country. And if you, again, back joking about Googling, all you'd have to do if you lived in, Pennsylvania or, Iowa, all you'd have to do is Google greatest country in the world, and you're on even the top 10.
Right.
On every measurable scale, whether it's life expectancy, healthcare, education. The latest one, they were 17 by the World Health Organization of the best places to live. Their life expectancy is lower than when they talk about when Trump the other day was talking about no other country in the world has ever done what we've done. Well, that's not true.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. And I don't want to get in because I did nothing but Trump yesterday. But I'm more fascinated by it. I find it fascinating that and I believe that revolution in thinking will come from those people one day.
Yeah.
They will one day go, we're being sold a bill of goods. These tax cuts don't benefit us, and they haven't.
No. Yeah, and what I would add to that is, but at what cost? Like, how far along, how much damage will be done before they revolt, if you will?
Maybe.
I mean, because the stock market, the stock market. How many people does the stock market benefit? I guarantee you that, some of them have like a 401k,
it doesn't
but not
benefit
nearly
most
in the
people.
amount. Yeah.
I think that Sherpa made some comment about it, like 70% of the people in the country do not benefit.
They don't.
Right.
I don't know if that's his number, but it isn't a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there you go. Thanks, Pete. Appreciate that.
I think you were going to talk about Mitt? Or was
Oh,
that-
Mitt Romney. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's
It's okay.
another interesting thing.
Yeah.
I don't really know how I feel about that. I thought it was interesting. I listened to a lot of Fox yesterday because on Sirius I have CNN and Fox, and even though I think CNN, I agree obviously with more of what they pump out, but again, it's my confirmation bias. But I listen to Fox because I find it fascinating. And you go back and forth. They think Mitt Romney, is done, and and the thing is, whether it was Fox or CNN, like predictably, there's the president, mocking him and saying he, because he was a political opponent. The thing about Trump is, part of that narcissistic, the id of your personality, the childish, tendencies, he just leans into those. You knew that right away he was going to say, failed presidential candidate.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The man, I think Mitt Romney is going to be remembered as somebody that at least one Republican voted with his heart.
Absolutely. And this is a big deal. There have only been 3 impeachments in all the history of the U.S. So if you ask me, it's very possible that this will be Mitt Romney's most memorable moment sort of in history for him.
Yeah.
And I think he's coming down, personally, I think he's coming down on the right side of history, but whether he did or not, it is beyond the point. The point is he went against the grain of every other single senator for his own personal convictions.
Which
not for
100 years
benefit.
from now will be what people remember, and it will be
Exactly.
laudable.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Because it's so not what they do. You always go with your party. Now, he was already being shunned, if you remember.
Yes.
A week ago, he voted to see some evidence.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
Witnesses in a trial?
and that's why Trump hates him, because at least one human being in that party of the cabal of Republicans said this is wrong.
Yeah.
And there will be movies about him. And Trump, for all his bravado and bloviation, which is a great word, for all of that, he senses that Romney stole some of his juice.
Right. Exactly.
Because he can't say it was 100%.
Exactly.
You know why
Yeah.
they didn't? You know why the Republicans and Trump in particular hates Nancy Pelosi's move the other night, ripping up the speech, is because it was yesterday's news cycle.
Right.
It took away from Trump's victory.
Yep.
The State of the Union. And by the way, Donald Trump's not the first person to recognize people during the State of the Union.
Sure.
Clinton's done it. Obama did
course.
it.
George
It's a
W.
thing.
Yeah.
It goes back
It's
to
a thing.
Reagan.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that circus, that wasn't he didn't invent that.
No.
Right.
And it's generally a partisan. It's the president saying, "Here's what we've done. Our party's great." But in an election year, that was a little bit more like a rally, and you can't deny it. And again, if you were the guys in power, you would have loved that, right?
Yeah, they were chanting 4 more years. I don't think I've ever heard that at a State of the Union. Like, that's crazy.
And then, hey, and I listen, say what you will about Rush Limbaugh and how weird that was, but, I celebrated Rush yesterday as a broadcaster, not as I think he's a terrible person.
Yeah.
But,
Put that aside.
But the fact that he's a horrible person,
Yeah.
but I respect the fact that he was a great broadcaster. But that's why Mr. Trump doesn't like the Mitt Romney story or the Nancy Pelosi story, because it's other grown-ups in the sandbox with him
Right.
that say, "No, Mr. President, you're not. This isn't right."
Yeah, yeah.
And that it's all about controlling the message, and there's a lot of that there. It's all control.
Yeah. There was a funny little bit I saw earlier this morning. I was up in the wee hours, and it was about them saying how, because Mitt went right on Fox and talked with Chris
Chris Matthews.
Chris. Oh my God,
Chris
Guy from-
Kringle.
Okay, for
What would you like for
$25. Jesus, the 60 Minutes brother. Oh my God! Hello, someone. Everyone out there is going, for God's sake. His brother was famous 60 Minutes.
Wallace.
Wallace. So yes, Chris Wallace.
Chris Wallace?
Yes. Mike. Thanks.
Chris
Mike
Kringle.
was Chris Wallace, I think, was the one interviewing him, if I'm not mistaken. And he's on Fox explaining
Yes.
his position.
Yeah.
I can only imagine, because Trump lives on Kentucky Fried
absolutely.
Chicken and Fox, that he must have been going nuts, and they were saying they were probably like duct taping the bottom of the screen and putting Trump, good boy, like this, so he didn't see what was actually happening.
Yeah,
It's
God.
true.
Look, and here's what Trump. He had failed presidential candidate, so right away,
Yeah, name calling.
that's the fact that the president. Listen, I don't want to get into this.
Okay. Never mind.
I'm going away. No, but you know what I mean. It's like
Just kidding.
all of that stuff, the name calling, giving them nicknames. It's just so childish. And at some point, that's why I say, at some point, the middle of the country is going to have an epiphany. They're going to wake up, because the people on the coasts have already, they're way ahead of in the hate Trump bandwagon. At some point, I think those people are going to realize that the American dream isn't for them.
Right.
I think I made this point in the show a few times, but the reason that those people don't mind rich people getting an amazing tax cut or corporations not paying their fair share, the reason they don't mind that is because it's the cult of the Constitution. And part of the American dream is, no matter how you're a coal miner in Pennsylvania, but one day,
Right. Yeah.
one day that's out there for me.
The American dream. Yeah.
The American dream's alive, and I don't want to vote against the American dream and this socialism. Again, the reason they're number 17 is that they die earlier than most civilized countries.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me getting all upset.
I'm like, what show am I on here?
Chris Kringle.
The first half hour was a way different show.
I'm totally joking.
Here's Mitt Romney's niece.
Oh.
The GOP chairwoman said Wednesday, "This is not the first time I've disagreed with Mitt, and I imagine it will not be the last. The bottom line," she says, "is President Trump did nothing wrong."
Yeah.
And as long as they all toe that line, that's cool. Let me tell you this story. So there was a guy named Kirk Douglas who finally gave out at 103 years old, right?
Yes.
You told me a funny thing. You said, you see, because, when they die, they go, 1940 to 2020.
1916.
Before
to
World
2020.
War One.
Yeah.
Oh, well, around
Right,
World
yeah,
War
yeah.
One.
Oh, sorry, Phil. Historian.
1912, Phil, 1914.
Well, what did he say?
He said it was actually during World War One.
Yeah, it's like
Oh, I'm sorry.
1914.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
no.
Phil. Okay, so around the time of World War One,
Right.
That's when this dude was born.
Right. I know. It's
Before the
insane.
talkies.
Yeah, before the exactly. Yeah. That's insane.
And he lived until like a couple days ago.
Yeah. Yesterday.
103 years old.
He was in his 104th year. He would have been 104 some point this year. That's how math works. Mhm. Just in case you forgot. Now that you're
Just
60.
turned into a Kumon. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Kumon on the radio. I'm Howard Glassman along with Dr. Pete. Today we're going to talk about numbers. Numbers are fun.
Fun. All right.
So there's a very famous movie that Kirk Douglas was in, I think in the 50s, called Spartacus.
1960. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you, Phil.
Yes, just in case. Yeah, exactly. Just during World War II.
That's right. At the
Very end.
end of World War.
Anyway.
And there's a scene in the movie where I think Spartacus is a slave.
Yes.
And there's some kind of, I don't know, roll call.
Roll call.
I don't know what it was. And then he stands up and says,
I am Spartacus.
but then everybody
Everyone does.
stands up because they were about to, I think they're going to whack him.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're going to whack him. That's
They're
good
gonna
too.
no,
He's
they're
going to
gonna-
be killed.
He's going to be killed.
yeah,
Like I
tortured.
guess they're saying, "Who's Spartacus?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "I'm Spartacus."
Yeah.
And then everyone goes, "No, I'm
Spartacus.
Spartacus. No,
Yeah.
I'm Spartacus."
Yeah, just like the Senate in the U.S. You know, everyone's
Right.
standing up for
Everyone
right.
stood
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Yes.
Yes.
I'm Trump. No, I'm Trump.
So here's the story.
Yes.
So Kirk Douglas has a son, Michael Douglas, and Michael Douglas has a few sons. Tragically, one of them, I think, was a drug guy, addicted to drug. I think drug guy. I believe.
Drug guy is a good way to put it. Yeah, sure.
Drug Douglas.
Had drug.
No, Michael Drugless.
That's right.
Sorry. That's
Anyway,
terrible. I can't believe
you're
I
a
just
terrible
said that.
person,
Erase
Phil.
this.
So
Phil's
quickly,
fault.
because we got to go to a
Okay,
break.
sorry.
So Eric Douglas, one of Michael Douglas's sons, was doing stand-up comedy for a while at the Comedy Store in London, and he was angered by the audience's reaction to his routine. I guess he wasn't getting laughs. He was just getting frustrated and shouted, "You can't do this to me!" In the middle of his, and by the way, as a comic, this is not the best way to handle an angry crowd.
No.
He says, "You can't do this to me. I'm Kirk Douglas's son." And a member of the audience stood up and shouted, "No, I'm Kirk Douglas's son." And then apparently everyone in the audience stood up and went, "No, I'm Kirk Douglas's son."
I'm Kirk Douglas's son.
I love it.
And I've never heard that story till today, but isn't that the best?
That is gold.
No, I'm Kirk Douglas's son.
Right.
The first guy that did that is the funniest thing.
Yeah. He should have been on stage.
He
Yeah,
should have been on
yeah.
stage.
That's hilarious.
Can you imagine? You can't do this to me. I'm Kirk Douglas's son.
Oh, you can Kirk
I should try
Douglas's
that tomorrow night. I'll be at Yuck Yuck's 9 o'clock show.
Yeah.
I'm Kirk Douglas.
That's great.
Listen, we're going to take a break here. Somebody go get Johnny. He's at the door. Little Johnny Rogers. This will be good. Look at him. He's on time. He's a fresh face. All right.
That's Phil. Phil,
right.
stop barking.
Bark.
Stop barking. Okay, well, we're going to take a break now. And it'll be good. The next hour, it's the young people are taking over. Next hour, we got very funny Johnny Rogers.
Johnny.
Who I don't really know. I can't. Maybe I do. Listen, I've known you for 25 years. I forgot who you were. So have we ever met? Have we ever done shows together?
I'm sure because you said one of my jokes in the message, and I was like, oh, I must have seen me perform at least once.
Maybe I went online and looked at something. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to talk to this kid. He's an up-and-coming stand-up comedian. And Dellen Gray, just quickly as we're going to break, she was signed?
Yes, signed to a professional management deal, not a record deal.
Oh.
They're shopping for a record deal, but she signed with Biff Naked, who back in our Edge days was a very popular.
And
rock
she's
singer.
been on the show
Yeah, you
a
know
bunch
Biff.
of times.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Big fan
Neighbor of
Dellen.
ours.
She's lovely.
Lives in this hood.
She's absolutely great.
Yeah.
We actually got a Christmas card from Biff this year. It was pretty cool.
Aw.
Yeah, it was neat.
Isn't that lovely?
It was lovely.
I'm Kirk
Actually,
Douglas's son.
I will tell you. What's that?
I'm Kirk Douglas's son.
Just kidding. Okay.
I will say this.
Yes.
Randomly Phil.
that.
Randomly Phil is very funny.
Yes.
And plus he's all excited now because he's going to be having sex with his wife in the next couple of days.
Fast and loose.
What?
Fast and loose.
I heard Vaseline.
Easy, Phil. Come on.
Oh, dear.
That's your
Also,
wife.
next hour, I'm going to tell you what Biff Naked and I have in common.
Ooh.
Yeah. You don't even know this, Phil. Okay? It's brand new information.
Just like a man.
Always great to be with you on Funny 820. It's Canada's comedy superstation. And, of course, around the world, you can download this program. Canada's most uploaded podcast. Did you know that, Phil?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Scientifically.
Yes, science. It's been backed up by science. This is Humble and Fred Radio.
now I'm starting to see maybe it's got nothing to do with me. Fathers, be good to your daughters.
welcome everybody. It's Humble and Fred Radio. We're live on Twitch television, Twitch TV, I believe the kids call it, and Facebook Live. Scary Pete's here.
Hello.
Dr. Scary Pete.
Doctor. Yes.
For many
PhD.
years, Pete, one of the writers, producers on our Humble and Fred show. You know, back in the old days, we had people doing stuff for us.
Imagine that. Yeah. Good times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He just showed up.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I'd ride there with, I was telling you, I remembered riding to one of the shows on flat tires on my bike from like Mount Pleasant and Eglinton all the way down just so I could serve you guys coffee and donuts.
Oh, yeah.
Those
And
were
now
good
look
times.
at you.
And now look at that.
Now
Yeah.
you're a real estate baron.
Yeah, right.
You got to see it.
Oh,
Now
boy.
Pete's got, honestly, Phil, if you had Pete's money, you'd burn yours.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
In a couple seconds, we're going to meet Johnny Rogers, a very funny stand-up comedian, and very interesting story. This young man hitting mics all around the city of Toronto, but started in stand-up and then had a brief. It's an interesting thing because he's like, I want to be a comedian. And then he's like, nah, I don't want to be a comedian. I want to do this thing. And we're going to find out what that thing is. But first, Fizzy,
Hello.
tell me something.
Absolutely. You know, there's been banks being hacked. We heard about a medical company being hacked recently, and there's lots of hacks in big companies. And so CDN Technologies is one of those folks who will help you protect yourself from these hacks or folks who are hackers, and then they will also help you alleviate any issues that evolve around technology. Contact CDN Technologies to learn about how to avoid being a victim of a devastating ransomware attack, bank fraud, negative PR, or data breach. They're your outsourced computer company. They provide IT service, support, and security to businesses in Oakville, Mississauga, and the GTA. You can visit cdntechnologies.com and check out our podcast with Barb, No Tech Talk, KNOW.
Excellent job there, Fizzy. I'm so tired of people being victims. Everything. I've been hacked. Yeah, although I do have this worry that, I'm getting to the age where, when I have my little afternoon sessions, sometimes, you guys know what I'm talking about. I just think, like, what if I have a stroke and my daughter's find me there, and I got the computer on my lap, and it's like trying to clear my browsing history.
Data breach. Data breach.
That's right. That's why you need CDN Technologies, but you also need the Chamber Plan. Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan, Canada's #1 plan for employee benefits. Get a free quote at chamberplan.ca. It's great for small businesses like ours. Group insurance and employee benefits enjoyed by 30,000 Canadian businesses. Simple, stable, and smart. And find out what people are saying. But there's so many things. Fizz just, I don't know if you know this about Phil, but he had gone a very long time. Almost 16 years. Are you not wearing a microphone anymore? I'm not sure what you're up
He's
to
given
right
up. He's just
you
given
just
up
give
on the
up?
show.
What
This is,
happened?
mark the time.
now. Johnny, you noticed that? Like, Phil took his headphones off and then was trying to talk into the ground.
June 2004, if you really want to be accurate.
What happened was he had 16 years.
Yeah.
And the Chamber Plan, of course, covered his dental, which wasn't inexpensive. As I mentioned, the Chilean miners got back together and went into that hole.
Like gum crevices.
And
Oh,
it
wow.
was something else.
Wow.
But chamberplan.ca is where you go. This gentleman started stand-up in 2011 when he entered the Funniest Person on Campus contest. And now, lo, these many years later, is working for he works as a YouTube host for a channel called Inform Overload that has 1.5 million subscribers. Say hello to Johnny Rogers, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for wearing the same shirt you were wearing last night.
I got
Or slept in.
I got an audition later today, and I have to dress like a Michael Cera intern nerd. So this is what I went with.
Do you do? Is
khakis.
that what you do? You do a little acting as well?
Yeah, just here and there. It's good money. Commercials are great on the side for like stand-ups to do. Somebody posted like, you've been doing stand-up comedy long enough when you start recognizing comedians in car commercials and shit. Yeah, for sure. Like,
Well, and you've been doing it for a while, but what I hinted there, and Johnny was just telling me during the break, that you went to school, you were sort of funny guy on campus,
yeah.
and then you took a break from comedy to do tell everyone.
I went to school to be a police officer because that was like what my parents wanted me to. They're like, at least go to college, get a diploma, and then you can do whatever you want after that. So I went, I did the diploma, but that was really where I started like settling in and figuring out that I could actually do stand-up comedy. I'd never thought it was like, I always saw people doing it on TV and, HBO specials, but I never thought that it was like a real job. Like, you could actually do this. So I think that was my first exposure to it, I would say, in college, was that competition.
But then you stayed there and did you ever become a cop or just have a degree to be a cop?
No, I just
I don't even know how that works.
Yeah, so I got like the diploma to like, it's almost like certification in a way that they know that you've been trained in like kind of the law and how to interrogate and and collect evidence and all
Let's
these
talk
different
about that.
fields.
How do you interrogate, and does it involve waterboarding? But so you got the degree and then never applied to a force.
Well, no, I did. I applied to. So what happened was I was applying all over the place, and they always told us, you'll never work in Ontario, you'll never work in the city that you're born in. All this stuff our professors told us. Turns out all wrong. Like, you can work in the city that you're born in. Like, I don't know why they even told us that, but I was applying to jobs like out west, and I actually got through the interview, and I was on to like the psychological testing to work in a prison in Alberta. And
because when I see you, I think prison guard,
right?
Yes.
Immediately. I was like, sweet, fat paycheck. That's all I was looking for, right? Like,
and if you're not watching on Facebook or Twitch, Johnny's 28, but he looks 18. No, I mean, you do. I'm looking at you thinking, great undercover, or
I look like the first like prison guard that dies in the movie. You know what I mean?
It's like, why is that kid working in the prison? So you get to the psychological testing, and do you bail at that point?
Okay, well, they emailed me, and then the next email was like, congratulations, we want to like offer you the job. All you have to do is go through the psychological testing. It's more of a formality to make sure you're not absolutely insane. And I was like, okay, cool. I started to like kind of settle in. Like, I'm gonna have to start looking for apartments in Alberta. Like, this is so weird, right?
By the way, Alberta is a big province. Do you have a city you might have been? Was it Calgary?
It was a small city. It wasn't even like Calgary.
Oh,
or
okay,
like
Edmonton.
I don't even know.
Okotoks, maybe
something. Yeah. And then at the same time, I got like an email from an old friend from college who used to work for the MMVAs. So remember Much Music do the big like show? She used to work for them, so she still has some contacts there. And she was like, "Hey, do you still do stand-up comedy? A friend of mine is looking to hire like a host for a new show." And I was like, "I can. That sounds amazing." So then I came up. This is 2014. I didn't answer the psychological testing email. I came to Toronto. I recorded like a stand-up set, sent that in as a submission. They accepted it. Then I came in, did the audition, like all this stuff, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. But it was like after that first stand-up set that I was like, I got to email this lady back and be like, sorry, like I'm not.
Well, I've just had two thoughts at the same time. Number one, it's a good thing there's no psychological testing for stand-up comics.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good thing that interview process doesn't include that part.
Yeah.
And then I just thought, too, like when you sent them the note that you don't want the job, you just fill the email with stupid emojis and pictures of you torturing cats and stuff. And
you trust me. You don't want to hire me. Yeah,
I'm no good and never have been, Daddy. So you get this gig doing the MMVAs, and then you came back and started doing stand-up.
Well, yeah. Well, I didn't actually even get the job, which is the funny thing. It was just the fact that I had put myself back on stage,
right?
And I got the laughs, and it was that rather than like this MTV thing that they had going. There was no way that was ever gonna happen. They are the most awkward auditions ever. You have to. First of all, they send me an email being like, okay, here's what we want you to do. We need you to write 10 jokes, so about like 5 minutes or something, maybe 6-7 minutes, all about that morning's like news, like what's happening that day.
Something current,
right? So I'm literally on the bus from Brockville to Toronto. It's like a 4-hour bus ride, and I'm writing jokes on the bus, and then I'm delivering them to a camera guy that's like, okay, Slate. And then there's one guy in the back of the room, and he's got a pen and pad, and he's just writing as I'm like, and then like I'm doing like a hacky joke style for this audition, and no laughter. He's just writing, just writing down. And then I said something dumb about Rob Ford when he was currently the mayor. It was
alive.
Yeah. And I got one laugh or something, and then I was just like, okay, well, that was ridiculous.
But fast forward to the last 6 or 7 years, because 14 into 20, that's 6, right?
Carry the one.
Sorry, Dr. Math. I had just a quick chat with Johnny because I sometimes I've been doing so many shows now for 4 years. I will run into people and they'll go, "Remember when we worked together?" I'm like, "No." But I don't think we have. But we've worked at a lot of the same places. And we're talking about whether you're a signed comic or a not signed comic and what that means. But there's such a vibrant scene here in Toronto. Like, I don't think people realize that on any given night there are a multitude of shows. You know, I think it's sort of akin to the folk scene maybe of the 60s here, but there's rooms on every night. I don't know.
Yeah.
10, 8.
Well, anywhere.
You
Anywhere
can go
in
and
the
do
city.
so many places that guys like Johnny that are, it's amazing. It's really something else. And so you get back and doing that. And I'm looking at the YouTube part. What was one of the reasons what did you want from this? You were coming to promote yourself doing what?
So I came here because one, I don't really need to promote the YouTube channel that I work for. It's not, I don't own it.
Right. And what do you do for it? You host stuff on it?
I host it. So like Inform Overload is basically internet news made more interesting. So made more entertaining, I think is the tagline. So they'll give us like a title of something that's trending, and they'll look up trending words for the title, and then I basically script backwards from that. So then I start writing so I think one of them was top 10 people's careers that were ruined by social media. So then I have to do research on that. So it's better than cleaning toilets.
And it's a gig.
And
how many, what would the average view, do you speak this? Are you on camera?
So yeah, so then the script gets put onto a teleprompter, and then we stand in front of a green screen, read from the teleprompter, then they edit all these cool graphics. The editors there are amazing. They do such a good job, and they cut it together really fast.
So what would a typical video with Johnny Rogers in terms of views?
It really depends. I mean, on the low end, you're looking at 5,000 views, and then on the high end, I've gotten some. I did a video about the Avengers Endgame when that was popping off, and that did well over 1 million views, maybe 1.2 million views.
That's amazing.
There's a couple different videos that get over 1 million.
Has it helped you in your stand-up career at all?
Oh yeah, it's major. It kind of I reached out to a couple clubs in the U.S. because not a lot of clubs in Canada will. There's too many of us and not enough comedy clubs. So I think they can only keep so many people in their head at one time, right? Dunbar's number of 150 people. Same thing works for a comedy club booker. If you're not showing face, they're gonna forget about you because there's always a crop of new stand-up comedians that want that spot. So I was let me look at the U.S. and see what's going on there. And a majority of our fan base is in the U.S. So when I put out a post saying hey, I'm coming to Chicago, I'm coming to Zany's, I'm gonna be here. They gave me 6 comp tickets. I had people from the channel reaching out, asking to come to the show.
Isn't that great?
It's amazing. Yeah.
It is, and it's such a great outlet. And I might make this segment less about you and your act and more about you and the world and how the world's changed for performers of any kind.
Yeah.
In about 20 minutes, we're gonna have a young woman perform for us. Very, very talented. But in the olden days, it was so hard to get your music to be seen. Pete's a recording artist as well.
Yep.
But the paradigm has shifted so much that you doing what you're doing against a green screen can help you bring up a fan base that might be interested in seeing you in a city where you have no connection to.
Yeah. And the great thing about them is they always say to me they're too busy to edit my script. They're not gonna comb through it and make sure that what I'm saying is on following a certain narrative or whatever. They're we trust you. I'll leave it up to you to do it. So it really allows me to add my own jokes in there and be funny with them and read fan comments, people that comment on their videos and be back and forth.
So
with
you
them.
get to display your humor and get a sense of your personality.
That way they're not becoming a fan. Say if I worked on a YouTube cooking show. Well, it'd be great if I had fans on a cooking show, but they're not going to want to see me do stand-up.
Right.
But this is at least kind of in the same area.
And this is your day gig.
Yeah.
How many days a week are you recording this stuff?
4 or 5 days a week.
Seriously?
Yeah.
And for
8-hour days.
Is it really?
Yep. So I'll script
good for you.
I'll script maybe
I feel
3,
like your
4.
grandpa right now. Good for you. Good for you. By the way, is that guy gonna kill me, Sean?
Is he what? Is he he's got a dog.
Who is he, dog? Okay, because I'm sorry. There's
Just
a lot.
scared of
The
you.
proximity here is too much. Because anytime somebody stops, is that guy gonna kill me? As if he is, Sean. I need you to take one. I need you to get over there. Is it weird that I'm this fascinated by that stuff? I love that.
No,
stuff.
no. I love talking about it. Yeah, it's hard to find people that are fascinated and.
Well,
things
because
I
people,
do.
you know why? Because they only care about themselves, Johnny. I care about
sometimes.
others.
Yeah,
It's a
for
selfie
sure,
world.
for
Yeah.
sure.
You know what people don't really understand about stand-up comedy is that the environment you do the performance, and you might get this because you did it. Have you ever done it?
A little bit with you.
What are you talking
Once.
about? I just met you.
I know. Yeah, exactly. And you are. And this is.
what are these
so-
people?
Yeah, where am I? Yeah,
What
we
do
did
you-
a couple.
what?
Yeah, so
we did
back,
what? What did we do? Was I
back-
hosting?
Yes, back when you when I was working for you with you at the Edge, you were gracious enough to have me on one of your nights at Yuck Yucks.
Yeah, I used to. I guess back in the '90s, Mark had me come in and we did a Humble and Fred night or a Humble Howard night.
Humble Howard
And how
I
did
did
you
two
enjoy it?
actually. Well, the night where I just did straight sort of 5 minutes of stand up went okay. It wasn't brilliant or whatever.
Yeah.
And again, you were always giving me advice because it was brand new to me. But then I did that I Am Not Canadian thing with you, you know,
Right.
and you invited me back to do that live. It
To
was
do the
this
bit.
It was this bit that we did back in 2000 that was very popular on radio and internet.
Yeah.
And
You did it live.
and they
and
went
did it-
nuts.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they loved it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great reaction.
But
yeah.
this bit that Pete did, this was in the early days of viral videos, and there was a commercial called "I Am Canadian." It was a very a guy came on and he ranted about all these great things about Canada, and Pete did a parody of it called "I Am Not Canadian."
As a separatist.
As a
Quebecois.
separatist,
Yeah.
and it was really funny.
Yeah.
And what was the kind of like it? Now it would be millions of views, but what was
Yeah.
back in the day?
Oh yeah, well it was only there was no YouTube, right? So it went
This was
around.
prior.
It went around via email around the
Yeah.
world. So my sister was getting it and writing me and saying, "I just got this from South Africa. I just got it," and in circle. But
Wow.
what happened is about 6 years later, when YouTube came into existence, someone posted it. Someone got a handle. And it now has, I think, 800,000 views on one of them, and then I've got another.
Yeah, Johnny's
whatever.
like, whatever.
No, I know, no, what I did. No,
I
but
did
for
a video about Taylor Swift's feet.
I know, but the fact that it was
20 million
Yeah.
views.
20 million.
the thing that it was
It's-
6 years old when
yeah,
it was
yeah.
posted
Yeah.
and still got all the
And
views.
that is that's still a considerable amount when you take into the fact that like YouTube now there's so much content on
Yeah.
it that you have to be so precise with how you put out a piece of content. Like the thumbnail has to be good, the title has to be like almost like clickbaity, almost enough
Right.
where you want to be like, okay, I want to find out more about this. And then
And that's what your site
Yeah.
in Form Overload is really good at.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
getting
yeah.
people to go, I think this is
they're like,
intriguing.
what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, my
Taylor
thumbnail is
Swift's
Howard naked.
feet.
Sorry.
What's that?
My thumbnail is you naked. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm not
Thumbnail.
kidding.
A lot of people would do
Hello.
that.
Very big thumb
Big boy,
boyfriend.
very big thumb boyfriend. But the thing that most people don't understand about stand-up is that, and again, I love having these conversations because it's not about how funny you are. It is to start with, but it's about how to learn the trick. And that's what I love. Norm Macdonald, who's a guy that I sort of came up with and I worked quite a bit with before he moved away. Thing about Norm, that his last Netflix special, Hitler's Dog, something in trickery.
Yeah.
But it's the trickery of stand-up comedy.
Norm is great at that too.
He's amazing at it, and the trick is, but there is a trick to it. Most people don't get that, because I know you've had this, I've had it. It's like, oh, you're a comic, are you? They don't seem that funny. Well, I'm not doing my act right now.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
imagine
yeah.
that.
And
That's like sending an
I'm
email.
certainly not as funny this sometimes on the show, like we had a nice serious conversation. I'm not trying to be funny all the time.
Sure.
But we know the trick. We know how to hide the premise, the joke. There's a
Yeah, yeah.
system to it that most people don't realize is going on. And as guys that I've loved it. I've loved it my whole life since I was a little kid listening to Richard Pryor records. And what you absorb is you refine as you go on is how to do that trick. And that's why some jokes work amazing.
Yeah.
And some jokes, when they don't work, it's because the formula doesn't quite
Sometimes
blend.
it's like timing too.
Yeah.
Like I always feel like I'm getting away with like highway robbery whenever I slip into a joke into a casual conversation.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's
like,
what we do.
I know
Right,
it
right, right.
works. Like I know it works, but I just say it kind of offhand. But it's the wording of it or it's the timing of how you say it.
And it's funny you say that too, because I'm not. When I first came back a couple of years ago, I was doing 5 and 6 nights a week. I was just going out doing shows because I was just like, this is great. There's shows every night,
And you needed the money.
and I needed the
Yeah, so,
money.
yeah.
It was destitute.
Exactly. Let's be honest.
Food. But I was fascinated by going out and doing all these shows, But I would try. We will try material out on people when I'm just having a conversation with them, just to see how does this play? How does it sound?
How do you feel about this?
How does it sound coming out of your mouth? And then, but this show is also a good sort of like I'll in the middle of a conversation with Fred or everybody here, I'll be like, yes, what do you? I just was thinking the other day.
Yeah.
Because all you want to do is see how it sounds out loud.
Yeah, for sure.
But part of it is to refine the little trick in it. And do you? Well, that's it. I'm all out.
He's
You're
tired.
all out of
He's going to bed now.
Do you gives up mid conversation? You know what, Johnny? You're not that interesting.
You know what? I'm usually better than this. I'm just tired. I stayed up late. You know what I did
I
last
could just
night?
plug some stuff for 5
Seriously,
minutes.
can you plug a few things? I went to bed late and I was watching Taylor Swift documentary. Have you heard about Taylor Swift? I just found out about her last night. She's pretty.
Oh, I don't like her at all.
Don't say
She's so phony.
No, she's not. She's real, man.
Oh, man.
She's real.
Yeah, she was real before. Now she's more real.
Hates her. Why does everyone hate?
Nobody hates her. If you look at her comments, everyone loves Taylor Swift.
No, but she went through a tough period, John.
I'm sure there was 4 people with 20 followers on Twitter that didn't like her.
After the Kanye thing, she went away for a year. You don't know anything about my
She got
Taylor.
more famous from that. She needs to stop.
Oh, so I just love the fact that I just discovered Taylor Swift last night.
Exactly.
So old. I'm so old. Okay, so Johnny Rogers. That's who you are.
Yes, sir.
I'm really happy to have met you. And now we have this. We'll have, if we do shows, it'll be like, hey, remember that time? In the last couple of seconds here, how do people find you?
So you can find me at the Johnny Rogers on all social media sites. I also have 2 weekly podcasts. There's a video portion. Video portion.
That's not a word.
That's not a word. Video portion. That's on YouTube as well. One is called My Daughter is a Communist. It is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts every Sunday at 7 o'clock. And the other one is Pothead Gamers because we live in Canada.
Well, I'll look forward to that invitation. Let me know when I'm guesting on something.
I'm sure we can do the Pothead Gamers. That'd
See how,
be pretty
see how
funny.
mean, see how mean things just got there? See what just happened?
I hope
by
you
the way,
repay the favor.
By the way, on Pothead Gamers, what you could say is our guest today was recently named by High Canada Magazine as one of the 50 Canadian cannabis heroes.
Oh,
in the
wow.
latest, yes,
There we
that's what
go.
I was going to say. Me and Biff have this in common.
Wow.
That High Canada Magazine, their latest issue, has me as. Now I'm not ranked, but I'm in the top 50.
That'll be our thumbnail, the screenshot of
The
that.
screenshot.
Wow.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah. We're networking, guys.
Yeah.
All right, and
Cool.
what we have for you, young apprentice, is our sponsor,
Oh my God, Gibbs.
Palma Pasta.
Oh,
That's not what I wanted to play.
No,
It's
that's
this
okay.
one. Palma Pasta and Palma's Kitchen. The Italian tradition continues. A delicious, it's a meat, a delicious meat lasagna from Palma's Kitchen. And Johnny Rogers, what a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much. This is amazing.
Would you have a nice time? I mean,
I got a
other than that weird
lasagna.
moment, other when I blanked out and decided.
So,
So,
tell me about.
Tell me about it. I don't care anymore. We'll take a break. Johnny, great seeing you. And
you.
everyone, this is the moment we've all been waiting for coming up after the break. Pete Cunio's daughter, Dellen Gray, just recently signed a management deal with Biff Naked's team.
Mm-hmm.
Biff and I, part of High Canada Magazine's 50 Cannabis Heroes. We'll be talking about that as well. Dellen will be performing the next half hour. Stick around if you can. It's Humble and Fred Radio.
It's near beyond the moon. I know beyond a doubt my heart will lead me there soon. We'll meet beyond the shore. We'll kiss. So tell me what's wrong with the feeling. I'm a flower, you're the bee. It's much older than you and me. I'm in love.
Great to have you with us. Pete Cunho, longtime friend of the show, worked with me and Freddie since 1996.
Oh, crazy.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah,
I would quickly figure out what that is.
Age-wise?
Now, how many years ago was that?
Oh, 24?
Okay.
Well, 23 and a half. Yeah, it was September of 96. 23 and a half.
All right, well,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Good times.
And Pete, of course, a character on our show, Scary Pete. Then he went on to become Dr. Pete, and then he became physicist Pete. And it was good times.
Dr. Scary Pete.
Dr. Scary Pete is here. And your daughter will be performing in a second or two. I think it's probably intimidating. You know, she's a superstar, budding superstar.
Yeah.
I'm a cannabis hero.
Mm-hmm.
You're a doctor.
This is true.
It's all working out. And look at how happy our boy is.
Yeah.
Look how happy our boy is.
25 minutes away from
He's going to be out of here.
Going
He's
away.
going to the airport.
leaving on a jet plane.
He's
Wow.
now I know Dylan is. Am I wrecking your name?
Dylan
You
is-
already have, but yeah, it's okay.
What is?
Uh-oh.
I don't
Cutter
mind.
Mike.
No,
Smart
mind.
ass.
No, shush. Be quiet. I'm soft now.
Yeah, no, it's good.
I'm a
Dylan.
soft Howie. Dylan. It's soft Howie time.
There are pills for that.
Easy now. Easy now.
I know.
Yeah. Because your daughter's here.
I know.
Your daughter. Dylan.
Yes,
Del?
Dylan. Dell.
I've said that.
Yeah, someone
several
called me
times.
Dell Computer once, and
Wow.
I wasn't mad about it. It's kind of like, okay.
You know what? You're an angel. That's what you are. That's my new category of people I like.
Oh.
So is Fizzy. So what I wanted to say, Dylan, is just don't listen to this next part for a second, okay? This next part is not for you. So I don't know if you know this, Pete, but can you just take
your headphones off or
No,
something.
she's fine. So what happens is when Phil is going to visit Mrs. Phil,
There's
his
a
wife
romantic
Pearl.
version of this.
What he likes to do
Oh,
is
jeez.
he
Oh.
softens, he moisturizes
Certain areas?
certain areas.
Oh, boy. Okay. With?
Coconuts, coconut oil.
Cocoa butter. Cocoa
Oh, my
butter.
God.
Organic.
Yeah.
oh.
Here it is. It's multi-organic.
He told me this. I'm like, first of all, why would you ever tell anybody that? How do you share? Hey, I don't know if you know this, but I'm gonna put some coconut butter on my nuts. And by the way, coconut butter on my nuts is my YouTube channel.
That's a new album. A new album.
Yeah.
So that's the preparations began a while ago, and he's anticipating. Your flight is this afternoon. You'll get to, where are you going first?
South Korea, Incheon.
And then you'll be there tomorrow, and then you wait a couple hours, and then you fly to Cambodia.
Camp Puchia, as they used to call it.
Okay.
Ah,
And
did not know that.
what's that?
I did not know that.
You're young. You're young.
And so Phil, that's congratulations on that. Very nice. Why don't we do a quick talk about our friends at Gig Sky?
Absolutely.
I'm going to be using actually the Gig Sky. I'm taking it with Rachel and IGFR. We're going to be because I'm going to have GPS. And
Yes.
Gig Sky is the perfect because it's like traveling with your own Wi-Fi.
That's right. In 25 minutes, I'm off to the airport, and the thing you do at the airport is to download the Gig Sky app and use their eSIM for their wonderful data service. You know, there may be cell phone companies out there offering you roaming, but Gig Sky is the most effective data plan you can think of because not only are they reasonable with their charges, you can also use their continental plans. They've got plans where, let's say you're in France one day and then England the next. Same plan. It's one of the best things. So if you have a Google Pixel 4 device, or the Pixel 3 or 3A, or if you also have some of the newer iPhones, you can do this without buying a physical SIM card. Or if you do, you can check out our website, humbleandfredradio.com. Click on Gig Sky. We still have wonderful deals on that website, eh?
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
yes,
Gig
very
Sky.com.
nice. And don't forget, a week ago, Sticker U, the sticker store on Queen Street, stickeru.com. You can order stickers here in town or anywhere in the world. They opened up a permanent sticker art exhibition. It's really cool. About 677 Queen West. If you're in the city, you got to check it out. It really is something else, and it's Toronto Mike and I were there. It's all back to the very beginning of paper and adhesives, and includes artifacts like the first postage stamp. from the UK, like 1840 styles, when we first started this show. Anyway, really something to see. And as I said, you can order a sticker that you could put on your fridge, and you can order a sticker the size of a fridge. StickerU.com, StickerU.com. Phil, StickerU.com. Many years ago, Pete, I can't really recall the first time you said, oh yeah, both of my kids are into music, but
yes.
But it makes sense. You're very musical. You're a very, very fine artist.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you. I mean,
no, really.
I shouldn't have agreed. Yes, I am.
Yes.
Fine artist.
But that doesn't mean anything. I mean, your musical ability doesn't necessarily have to be downloaded into your progeny.
Not at all.
But Dylan.
Yes.
Do you remember, like, is your early memories of Dad playing and singing all the time?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was actually, I think 6 months ago we were watching old home videos, and there was a video that made everyone cry, and it's gonna make me cry. But we were sitting on a hotel bed, and my mom was filming my dad, basically serenading me, and I was just in such awe of what was happening. Like, I was completely mesmerized by what he was doing, and that's all I remember, like going to all of the shows that he was playing. I knew, like, Daddy was a musician and Daddy is the best at this, and not because he told me that, but I thought he was. I mean, a little bit of it, mostly because he told me.
I don't know if you know this
remember
father, but
Elvis and I were buddies.
well, let's formally introduce you. I mean, you've been on the show before, but we're so pleased to have you back hanging out with me and Dad. Dylan Gray, everybody. I was thinking about you last night because I joking with our guest Johnny Rogers there. Obviously I was aware of Taylor Swift. I just never worked at a radio station that played her music, and I sort of was vaguely the controversy with Kanye at the MMVAs or whatever, and on and on. I'm aware of her, but I wasn't aware of her story.
Yeah.
And then you and I were talking before the show that you'd seen the documentary as well.
Yeah.
And you see, well, here's what I'm getting at. You see that she was interested in music at every level of her life. And they do a good job showing her at every stage of her life. Do you relate to that?
Oh, totally.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
totally.
it's just something you've always been driven to do.
Yeah. It's the one thing that hasn't really changed, I guess. Like, I was a kid and I was like, I'm going to be a vet. Oh, I'm going to be a lawyer. Actually, I lied. I'm going to be a firefighter. Actually, wait a second. And, that kind of thing. But the thing that always stayed kind of in the back of my mind was, I'm going to do music in some way, shape, or form. And when I realized that was never changing, I started to kind of shape what I was doing in school around my kind of hope to be a part of the musical industry in whichever way it would accept me. So I was taking courses to study business law so I could become an entertainment lawyer if performance didn't work out, and then kind of working in business too to understand the management side of things, and that all has kind of helped me create, or I don't know, helped me move my own career along, but it's also just kept it a part of my life.
And speaking of management, your dad told me, and I forgot, but I remembered. Dad
yes.
said that you had just been signed by Biff Naked's management. The guy's name's Peter, right?
Peter Carroll, yeah. So Peter Carroll and Biff are both my managers, which is absolutely insane. I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around it. We signed everything back in August, and we've been kind of working on things ever since.
So what does that entail, if I may?
No, I'm.
But what does that entail in terms of? So you get signed, and I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, well, I didn't really know what it meant other than like, oh, this is so cool that Biff Naked kind of wants or like thinks that something's happening here. But basically what they're doing is they're getting gigs set up for me. They're sending everything to record labels. They're working with PR representatives as well. So that just takes a lot of work off my plate, which is nice.
So since August, have there been some gigs, or is this the year that you're going to start to go out and do something?
Yeah, so this is the year that we're going to start playing again. I'm actually playing in February with Biff. She has a little bit of a tour happening around Ontario. So I'm in London with her on the 29th of February, and I'm in Fort Erie with her on the 28th.
And you'll go out before her and perform for like I don't know how it works with singers. I know how it works with comics. You know, you open
Yeah.
up, you do 15 or 20. Is it similar?
30 minutes, yeah.
30
so
minutes,
it's a nice
nice.
chunk of time.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. It's
That's
going to
be your show.
Yeah, it is. It's also an acoustic show, so it's just me and my piano. Actually, I'm not good enough at
'cause you
guitar to
Is
to
that
play it for 30 minutes.
Is piano your thing?
Yeah, well, I started piano when I was younger. I think I was 5 or 6 when I started taking lessons, and it just kind of stuck. And then I taught myself how to play guitar and never took a lesson.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. They teach
Pete
themselves.
Cuneo, do you have a
Hi,
question
Pete Cuneo.
for?
Hello.
I'm just wondering, is it Delene? Delene. I was just going to say the way they teach themselves now is great because you have YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So she just sat there, and all of a sudden I'm like, how are you playing all that? She goes, oh, there are videos on YouTube, and next thing you know, she's a better player than I ever was, and it's all just, just from YouTube.
Your dad was. I got to tell you, I've always been not a very good musician, but I took music as a kid and I loved it. And when your dad we wrote a lot of songs together, but I was just fun being around somebody so much better than me that I could learn from them.
Yeah.
But in those days, I had a guitar. I'm going to tell you, this is a cute story. You're going to love this story.
You're going to cry.
No, this isn't a cry story.
Oh,
This
okay.
is a dumb story. Me being dumb. But your dad and I would try and learn the songs,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Because before you could look up how to play the song, we would just listen. We would listen to the song after the show and try and
Figure it
figure
out.
what the chords were, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one day, Dave Grohl, you may have heard of Mr. Grohl.
Yeah.
This is a great story, Johnny. You're going to love this. Maybe I'll tell it on my pod when you have me on your stupid pod show.
Get off your phone, Johnny.
So Dave Grohl's in the studio, and I always had my guitar in the on-air part where I sat. And then I'd go, hey, Pete, I think I got this chord. So Dave Grohl's in the studio. And this is literally a couple years after Nirvana ended. So he's a pretty famous guy.
Okay.
But we got kind of comfortable. He'd been on a few times.
Yeah.
So I think the second time he was in, as the interview wrapped up, and we were all taking pictures, and I said, Dave, I got my guitar here. I said, could you show me how to play? I think it was Everlong or something, right? This is Dave effing Grohl. So he starts to play it, and I say something like, I'm sort of starstruck, but I go, he's playing a couple chords. I go, are you sure? And he just looks up and goes, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh, yeah. It's just the way he said it to me, though.
I know.
He goes, yeah, I'm pretty sure. This is the way it's played.
Since I wrote it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since, I'm Dave Grohl. but since that time, it's been such a boon for amateurs like me, at least, because when I want to learn a song now, first of all, the charts are there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like I wanted to learn this song by Frank, something it's called Recovery. Do you know that song? Frank, what's his name?
Frank Ocean.
Frank Ocean?
No. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I look it up.
Perfect.
I look it up, and it's not just the charts. It's him showing you how to play his song.
Wow,
That's
that's
so
really
cool.
cool.
So that's where, and for some, Frank Turner, that's right.
Oh.
So someone like you interested in music at your age, you could always go and find out, if you want to how to actually play the chords.
Yeah.
But at some point you started playing your own music.
Yes.
How do you learn to do that?
My dad.
Papa.
Yeah, I grew up around him writing his own music, and so I always had an idea of how it could sort of come about. And then, I was just like, I just want to be like my dad.
Yeah, but I mean, the process in sort of simple terms was that Maddie started coming up with little ideas. So
Yeah.
Daddy, I mean, the first song she ever wrote, can I tell this, that
Yes.
we actually have a recording of, is her apologizing to her sister for a fight they'd had, and they almost never fight. These two love each other. And so she wrote this
Yeah.
song called You're the Best. And the chorus was just like, you're the best, you're the best thing that ever happened
honestly,
to me. Na, 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 na. Anyway,
Like
it was
all of the
hilarious.
Miley Cyrus
Oh, yeah.
pop stuff I was
That's what
listening
was
to,
big,
like
yeah.
I channeled that right into
Yes.
my own stuff. So I was just like my dad, like really good at mimicking
I was
people.
mimicking Miley Cyrus all the time.
And
That's what I did.
yeah, so I was like, oh, okay, this is what a song sounds like. Like this
Yes.
is what it should sound like, and it was actually pretty catchy. The fact that we still remember it,
Yeah.
like I was onto something.
But the process was basically, I said to Maddie, you're gonna become a better songwriter than I am, but what you have to learn is to ask yourself the right questions. And so that's what I would do, is I would sit with her and say, okay, does that word, does that sentence properly describe what you're trying to say? Does that chord support the emotion, and do this sort of thing?
Wow.
And so the first bit, it was really more of co-writing these little cute,
Yeah.
but within months she was writing these tunes, and I'd just be stunned, like, okay, you're beyond the daddy
Well,
now,
well, why don't we, this might be a nice part. Let's, what number
Yes.
is that, Sean? Is that 5? Let me hear your guitar if you wouldn't mind. So maybe, do you need it a little closer, Pete? What do you, Let's get it right in there. And I know it's awkward singing into the headphone mic.
It's all good.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So can you tell us what we're going to hear? This is great because you were in. When were you in a few months ago?
May, I think it was, of last
Yeah,
year.
it
Isn't
was
that
a
crazy?
You could have said
while
last
ago.
week. I would have gone, really?
Yes.
Back when you were 50.
Wow.
Yeah. Which one are you doing?
Yeah. So
Are we doing one tune or two?
I think we're going to do the, is it,
One?
because
You wanna
we're
do the
almost
single?
wrapping things up
Okay,
here.
no, I
We'll
just
do the
want somebody
single.
knows. Are
Yeah.
you gonna do
yeah.
the single?
Yeah. So this is Battle. Just released it in January, late January.
Really? And where do
yeah.
people find your music?
Anywhere, everywhere. YouTube, I have a video out, Dylan Gray Battle, and then it's out on Spotify, Google Music, or Google
and how do you
Play, Apple
spell
Music.
Dylan?
Delyn.
Delyn Gray.
Yeah.
I like
space Grey.
EY, yeah.
Yes. Instead of AY.
Yes.
Grey.
Yes.
You just, okay, fine.
Just to screw you up
Yeah,
even more.
just so you know.
Dylan Gray, everybody. Here we go.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dylan. I'm turning these mics off. Okay. All right. Stop it.
On the verge of losing control, lost count of my falls, picked it up, brushed it off. Inside I crawl, and darkness stomped my soul. I'm lording, pray to God it's temporary. What's crushing me? And darkness stomped my soul. Can't cure it, pray to God. It's a battle, battle, oh, battle, battle, oh, on the verge of losing control. Devil stare, getting closer, sitting on his shoulder. The air up here much colder, and darkness stomped my soul. I'm lording, pray to God it's temporary. What's crushing me? Darkness stomped my soul. Can't cure it, pray to God. It's a battle, battle, oh, battle, oh, battle, oh, greets me with wide arms and like the sun beating down distorts my vision. There must be a meaning to this battle, this battle, 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 this battle, 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 battle.
Oh my God. You're so good.
Thank you.
You're very good. I can't look at you. You're good. Why are you so good? That was really good. I could cry. You're good.
Thank you.
I think that song
I
should,
get it from my daddy.
is that called Battle?
Yes.
That song, a battle song. I am Dylan Gray, DELYNGREY.
Yes.
On follow her, DEYLYN Do that same word, DellenGrayOfficial.com. Hey, Phil, can you come here for a second? Because we got to wrap up on terrestrial radio here in about 3 minutes. Phil, I have a question. Fizzy. Just and because I know you're literally going to bolt here.
Yes.
In 3 minutes. My question is this: if I wanted to do a podcast extra for a few minutes with Dellen and maybe Johnny Rogers, that punk comedian, as long as I just wrap it up by the time, like I do like 10 or 12 minutes, and then by the time you get home, it'll all be done.
The file will be up. But anyway, do it as long as you like, though. Do it as long as you like, because
I don't wanna
what I
screw
can
you
do. Well, the thing is, what I can do is I could just publish it from the airport. We have like a great remote system for this stuff.
Well, no, but what I'm thinking is just I'll do another 10.
Okay.
And I'll get the file prepared right away. Mm-hmm. And then it'll be ready for you by the time you get back to Wood the Bridge.
At the Wood the Bridge.
So we can have maybe. Can you do like another like a shorter not that was like
Yes.
a song?
Was I boring you?
Aw.
I'm so sorry.
No.
get
I'm only
sleepy.
because
Yeah, of course.
I want to make sure we get it done so that he can get it done before he goes to the airport.
So I
Is
can
that
get
okay?
it done. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
While we're on terrestrial, Dr. Pete, what a pleasure, man. Seriously.
All mine, as they say. This is really
me.
cool.
I
Thank you.
enjoy
No,
more.
me.
Okay.
Thanks, Phil.
My neighbors.
This is a real thrill. Seriously, real thrill. Thank you, you and Fred, for letting me.
Oh my God, I would have you do it anytime. Baby Sean Sargent, good luck with Dry February. That was awesome.
Golden ticket February.
Johnny Rogers, go check him out on all his social. The YouTube channel is called Inform Overload. You can watch his stuff there every day of the week. And we'll be back. Live shows start again on the 24th.
24th, Monday. Yes. And I have a wonderful lineup.
I'm trying to remember, we got a bunch of guest Freds that week.
Absolutely.
And thanks to everyone who watched us on all the things. And Phil, do your thing. And Phil, by the way,
hold on.
I hope you have a great trip. I hope Mrs. Phil loves Canada. You know?
She'll love it.
Okay.
She kind of has to.
And the cocoa butter.
You have no choice.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's all, as we say goodbye, let's all imagine Phil and his organically moisturized whatever.
Talks
Phil.
about the balls. This episode of Humble and Fred Radio is brought to you by FYI Music News, The Retirement Sherpa, Gig Sky, The Chambers Plan, Palma Pasta, CDN Technologies, and our newest sponsor, Sticker You, where you can get your stickers on Queen Street or order anywhere in the world. We broadcast to the planet from the worldwide headquarters of the Humble and Fred Show. More Humble and Fred tomorrow and online at humbleandfredradio.com.
Most of all, someone said you love.
Okay, so now we're doing the podcast extra. We're done. That terrestrial radio is behind us today. Dellen, that was great. Johnny, why don't you hang around a little bit? Phil, we'll get Johnny back here, give him some headphones. Step on the dog. That's wow.
Why do you hate dogs?
Why do you hate dogs, Johnny Rogers? Why? Because you're a fucking cop or some shit. Now, so I can swear all I want.
Yeah. I like that you said we're going to end terrestrial radio. Now this is just the podcast for the aliens out there.
Yeah, this is, terrestrial radio part of it is just so weird,
Well, you
We,
ended terrestrial radio a long time ago, didn't you?
Yeah, we ended our
You guys ended it.
association with terrestrial radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for years we had, we were quite a popular little thing, and then we did a podcast for the very first time. Were you there?
Of course.
2005.
Oh, no. Yeah, but yeah, I was. You did it at Dan's place.
Yes.
Yes, I remember those.
So we did a podcast in 2005. People hadn't even heard of it. It was like we didn't even know. People called it internet radio. That's how long ago that was.
Yeah.
So Phil, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do about 10 minutes here, and then I'll quickly edit the file, and you'll have it by the time you're in Woodbridge. I just wanted to give Johnny a chance to say a couple more things. Dellen, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, and you weren't. It wasn't boring. I just wanted to do I just didn't want you to do like the 10-minute version of, hey, I'm doing my album cut.
Yeah. He's also got a very, very short attention span.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he stopped
60,
mid-question.
Yeah, I was like, now,
you know what I'm saying.
how old are you?
20.
20.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you? do you date and things? Do you have people?
Yes,
that
I
you
have a
date?
boyfriend.
Oh, you do? Okay. Because I know
Yeah.
maybe I'm Johnny, set you guys
Nope,
up.
never asked. I appreciate though that you're trying to play.
Well, it's funny because my
Lovemaker.
daughter, who's now 25, this is a true story. At one time, my oldest daughter was dating a stand-up comic.
Oh, no.
And my younger daughter was dating a magician. Like, that's
Oh.
for real.
Wow.
And I used to do that story on stage. I say, so what do we know about these girls? One of them is, obviously interested in the mystic, and the other one's got a cocaine problem. But only comics laughed at that joke.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you when we're finished which comic it was.
Oh, nice.
Fucking hate that guy.
It's never a good idea.
It's no good.
No.
No good. In fact, I'm working with him tomorrow night at Yuck Yucks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that'll be good. Although, I made my peace with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's a fucking dick.
Does he know you hate it? Like, are you
I
guys?
pretend I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because now you're actually saying it
Oh,
on
yeah,
something that
yeah.
you might hear.
I don't care.
No one's
I
listening.
don't care. No one's, I've told you, this is the witness
You said
protection
witness
program.
Oh my
When you
God.
want to hide from the law,
Humble and Fred.
Humble and Fred Radio. You being chased. So, why don't you? Can you play us another song?
Yes,
Would that be
I can
good?
do
Like a
that.
fun little song of some kind.
A fun. I don't really have like fun
Or do you have like
songs.
another, have another dark opus?
Yeah, everything's
Mine was so
kinda
good, by the
heavy.
way. Is that mic fucking you up a little because it's so close?
It's all good. Is it
I
like
rolled the
too
level
loud
there.
there?
I took
Yes.
the level down. It was great.
And
it sounded
Dylan-
great.
yeah.
I will not sing louder than I
bigger
just
parts.
did.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
And are you able to
Sing
hang
back
out?
up?
Yeah, sing back
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Do you want to play my guitar?
I do. I am fascinated by the fact that you. Again, I don't know you. You seem like a nice kid, but you made a choice today, and that shirt was it.
I thought you were going to say in this show was
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
I knew where he was going
Yeah,
with
of course
this.
you did.
I was trying to think of something, but I
comedian.
didn't.
Because you went
Come
to,
back,
you got
yeah.
up this
Yeah, I
morning and
look-
went,
I
no,
look-
not that one,
Yeah.
this one.
I look like a tired Jimmy Neutron.
Dude,
That
I
was
love
the-
it though.
Ah.
I will tell you this is a true story too. A couple weeks ago, my girlfriend came. Oh, I don't know how I wore a shirt all day, and I saw her in the afternoon, and she just gave me a hug, hello, and she goes, you know, honey, your shirt's on inside out.
Oh.
Like all fucking day, no one saw
No
it.
one told you.
Like inside out, man.
That's
like a
hilarious.
shirt, like not even. Anyway, but I just wondered. So, was everything else more wrinkled
I
than that?
don't usually dress like this. This is literally one of the only like button-up shirts
Like
that I own.
the classic guy
It's
button-down
only
blue
for,
shirt.
Yeah, it's only for commercials that I keep these things around.
Phil.
You can give us a big Cambodian hug.
We gotta go. Keep talking. We gotta.
He's amazing.
Howard is
in
now
ad
saying
reads.
goodbye
This
to
is-
Phil. They're hugging. It's getting personal. It's getting sweaty and hot. Good narration, yes, exactly.
The dog doesn't know
Phil,
if it should
who was
attack
born
or.
in, where was Phil born? I don't know. Bye, Phil.
Bye.
再见,再见,再见.
Now that Phil's
He's a
gone,
Chinese
we
fella.
have a conversation about how big his
Character.
fucking head is, because that thing is. Did you see it? Like it's
Did you
insane.
see it?
Do you see? It's like a smart car. It's like unbelievable. Like when I hug him, and I'm like, I can't even get my hand around.
No.
Around in the head here.
So yeah, Phil's quite a character. He is something else. Dylan Gray, would you favor us with another song before we shut this thing down?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, what song is this?
Break Me Till I Bend. I actually did it last time I was on.
Oh, do it now.
Yeah. I'm gonna do it now.
Do it now.
Okay, do it
Are
now.
you doing it?
She's so doing it.
When are you doing it?
Who are you?
Did you do it? I'm tired. I'll tell you why. I watched my girlfriend Taylor Swift till 11.
We'll wake you up after the
love
song's
her.
done, Howard.
She's so good.
She
I
is
do
good,
like her.
and she seems very attractive.
she
not that
seems
I-
very attractive.
Not that I see
Howard.
gender, John.
Howard,
No.
you're okay to take a nap now. It's all right.
We'll wake you up at the end.
Yeah, okay. Here we go.
right.
Dylan Gray once again. Dylan, turn these mics off, Pete. Yours too, Johnny Smartface.
Keep those three words from me. I'm over you is a knife that keeps cutting me deep. I've lost So much life, I already know how it ends. Don't stop, baby, break me till I bend. Keep those two hands for me. I'm the one for you. Are the words you refuse to say to me. I've lost so much life, I already know how it ends. Don't stop, baby, break me till I bend. Blood and tears begin to stream. Your love knows reviving me. Baby, break me till I bend. No torture ain't a thing. You're so kind to want to tame me till there's nobody better I see. Break me till I bend. Baby, break me till I bend.
It's just,
Thank you.
why is your daughter so sad?
What are you going through?
What's really happening? I'm like Dr. Phil all of a sudden. Tell me.
Dr. Pete.
What has Pete done to you?
Pete done? It's like, wow, man. And you were mentioning too, Julia, your youngest. She's also very musical. you
Yes.
guys.
Yeah.
And she's a couple years
incredible.
younger than you.
Yes, she is. Yeah, she's 17.
How's she working out?
Good.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She's better than me at music, which
No,
is
no,
a little
They're very different.
a little
Very
off-putting.
different.
He's like,
Yeah.
no.
No. You're both. No, they're equal. They're
She's
just-
absolutely incredible. She's incredibly poetic,
Yeah.
and it just flows out of her in a different way. It's
And is
it's
she?
pretty special.
How's she getting along with the world? Is she?
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, she's almost done high school, so she's really looking forward to that. University application. She just got accepted to Concordia in Montreal. So
Nice. What is she gonna
yeah.
do? What is she up to?
I think in Montreal she's thinking psychology to start, but
Yeah.
mainly just sort of general arts till she figures it out. You're still young, right?
No,
You're
I
still
know.
young.
I know. It's just too young.
It is. It's still young.
It's
You
crazy.
look at Johnny. He wanted to be a cop.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
go to school.
Drop out.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I asked the question because my first daughter, Charlie is her name, so different, and she really didn't date that guy. They dated, what people do.
Yeah.
My youngest daughter is completely different. It's like they're just so different people, and I guess that I'm sure they're very different too. But my youngest always bugs me. She's like, I wrote half your act because I talk a lot about her, her in particular. And the other one I barely do because she's like, easy peasy.
Right.
But I introduced the bit by saying, I've got a couple daughters. One is 25 and the other one is kind of a dick, actually. And it's true because she's so different, sassy. Fucking the shit she says to me is unbelievable. Like I would never speak to my dad. And good and bad. Like, she's really funny. We have great conversations. But, like, some of the stuff that comes out of her mouth, I would never say, even your generation wouldn't have spoken to your parents the way they talk to me.
Yeah.
I always say it's like the two of them are funny and they're sharp, and it's like being attacked by piranha that you raised yourself and trained. And then they're like,
Sharpen the teeth.
no, and they're just they're just picking at me all the time. Is that right, old man? Is that a
I'll feed you.
Yeah.
No, I've been lucky. They're definitely different from each other, but no, neither of them has given us that hard a time. So we were sort of spared that, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your moments, but no, they've been good. No,
Yeah,
seriously.
wow.
Sorry.
Yeah, every other week, my youngest is like canceling me. Like I'm serious.
Oh yeah. No.
Anyway, listen, everyone. That's it. I want to be mindful because Phil, he's very, fastidious, and I want to make sure that we get this. I'll do another couple minutes. Sure. Sean, do you have anything to finish? And take your microphone, Sean. Sean, Sean number 6. Sean number 6.
I don't have a whole lot to add.
Are you
and
doing
I'm,
your show tomorrow?
I'm
crack
trying
crack
to
a
figure
noon?
out a way to do it, not here.
Well, you're
So
welcome.
that'll be
I'm going to be
new.
around tomorrow. You can do it.
No, I've got new plans. I've got
All
new
right.
setups and
Ooh.
changes going on.
Sean's got his own show on Twitch called Crack of Noon or Crack of Sean or Crack. What is it?
Close enough.
Hey, what?
The Crack of Noon with Sean Sargent.
Oh,
By the way, how
like to wake up
uncomfortable
on
was
Fridays.
hearing about Phil buttering up his nuts?
That was definitely a moment. Yeah.
And he's not. He can't. He's incapable of false. He can't be false.
No, I
He's
know.
whatever comes out of his mouth is the truth.
absolute truth.
To Phil. And so Crack
His
of
own.
Noon tomorrow.
Crack of Noon tomorrow. Won't be a long show. I don't have a guest, but I will have another few guests coming up in the next couple of weeks that
Okay.
are going to be pretty interesting.
Well,
so.
good luck with your dry
Cool.
February.
So
That's
far,
Sean-ish.
so
Yeah,
good for
try
me.
it.
Not
So
so good
far,
for
so not.
the non-alcohol part.
Okay, sorry about that. Well, you're curing cancer one pint at a time.
Doing my best.
Johnny, where are you? Are you going to be on stage anytime?
Yeah. So if you live in Toronto, I'll be at the Social Capital Theatre February 22nd for the comedy party. It's at 10 o'clock.
Wow.
10 p.m.
And will you not be like? What was is your week? You do sets every week?
I'll
Or-
just like in the meantime, I'll just be going around to different mics trying to workshop some new material.
It's hard, man. It's brutal.
Yeah.
Johnny and I were talking about it. Like, I don't do it as much anymore because I'm a yucks guy, but also because I'm just tired. But I went to an open mic a couple weeks ago. I've done a couple recently, and they're just like 15 comics. There's a microphone on the floor,
Yeah.
you pick it, and there's two people. I can't remember. I wish I could remember Ben's show because it was a funny thing. So there was like 10 comics in the room, a bunch of guys I knew, guys like Andrew Barr and Ben and a few others, and 2 people in the audience. And literally, you know what comics are like? It's like all of us were doing crowd work
We did a
with
show.
2 people.
Yeah.
It's just brutal.
I was at a show the other night and we were just doing it to one person.
Yeah.
Just talking like conversation.
And you wonder, it's like what's the gain of it?
Yeah.
But it's sort of just saying the words out loud.
Okay.
You know. And you had an interesting perspective. I liked what you said about your performance.
Yeah, practice how you want to perform.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though there's only 1 or 2 people in the
Act
room.
like you're at Madison Square Garden, and you know what I mean. Like even if it's one person in the room, just
that's a hard
literally
thing to
give
do.
it all. And it is very hard. It is
you know,
very hard.
imagine with singing and playing a guitar. If there were 10 people in the room, they will react like an audience because when you're in a musical setting, when you finish singing, people will applaud and they'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
The problem with stand-up is if 10 of the people in the room are comedians and the 2 people are just like, why is everyone yelling at me? you don't get the reaction. I did a corporate gig the other night, 2 nights ago, for 50 people. And 50 people is a pretty good little crowd in a small space.
Right.
Because you can get them mustered. You can get them. What's that?
I'm like picturing, is it going to be like a hotel ballroom or something?
No,
Just
you know
like-
what it was? It was upstairs in a bar. Now, I'll tell you after.
Okay, yeah.
We're done. There was some.
Questionable.
There were some
I hate
moments.
Corporates.
Corporates are weird. They just
So
are.
weird.
Because most people don't understand what we're talking about, the dynamic of it. Because if you're singing a song, it doesn't matter how many people are there. I can pay attention and give you the reaction that 10,000 people would give you. But stand-up is so tenuous. The sound system has to be right. There has to be a stage.
You got to be seated.
There wasn't a stage.
Yeah.
Oh no.
The microphone, they had rented you'll love this. Yeah. They rented a sound system. All it was a speaker on a pole.
Karaoke machines.
Oh my god.
And I'm standing there with the
Trivia.
mic, and I could just hear them about to feed back for. I did 40 minutes of this. Just on the edge of feeding back.
Don't red line. Don't red line.
Oh man, and it turned out fine. They were really nice, and apparently I thought I did horrible, obvious, but they said it was fine. Oh, they loved you. I'm like, really? Anyway, so you're gonna be doing that. I'm gonna be where am I? I told you I'm gonna be at Yuck Yucks tomorrow night, and when I come back, I'm gonna be middling in Oshawa at Yuck Yucks at the end of the month, and then I'm gonna be in Niagara Falls early in March. And then London, Ontario, early in May. So there you go.
Right.
All right.
And I'm going to
So
be
there
home.
you go.
I'm going to be home.
Yeah.
Sitting alone, doing nothing.
Peter.
Wasting
Peter,
away.
Peter. Such about the boyfriend. All right, everyone. See you later. Thanks, John. Okay, hang around. I got some time for you. Let me do this for Phil. Get pictures, do whatever you need. Sean.
Sean, you need